All right. Hopefully I'm live, but let me check just to be sure. I doubt anyone's watching just yet. And I'll be happy if we get 10 people. Anyway, I invited quite a few people for this hangout today. And by that, I mean 4 or 5. And for all of you out there watching, anybody's welcome to come on whenever. But so far, we only have Sv3rige and Janine with us. Maybe some people will join us later. I'm not sure. I didn't get any concrete yes or no answers, to be honest, except from Sv3rige, who once again is here. And as you can tell by the title, we're going to gossip a little bit today about diet war drama in this YouTube community, the Gojiman drama, Sv3rige's video that seemed to have triggered him, or maybe it was just a final straw in triggering the man, I don't know. As well as, and I don't know how many of you guys heard or saw, the epitome of disease, I believe is the title. Well, let me give you the full title. Carnivores, the epitome of disease. I believe that's what it is. We'll chop it up, talk about that video as well once Janine gets here. But basically, we want to talk about what's been going on lately and how that affects people, maybe some broader implications, free speech, freedom of expression, censorship, yada yada, fucking yada. Anyway, Sv3rige is getting some raw milk, she said. Maybe she's a little low energy and needs to perk up. But if there's anyone watching and you feel like you have a lot to contribute and you want to hop on the hangout, let me know. I'm going to try to monitor the comment section, the chat, and maybe we could get you on. Once again, anyone is welcome. Everybody is, except not all at once, obviously. And if you're a troll, I guess I'm going to have to learn how to kick people because I don't even know how to do that. Kind of a noob when it comes to these hangouts, and it's still a learning process, I suppose. Anyway, give me a second, guys. I need to find the chat. How do I do that? Anyway, just to foreshadow the story a little bit, for those of you who may not know what's going on, Sv3rige, who is a carnivore, a raw meat eater, disciple of the world famous Johannes Planets. Does that mean wonderful planet? And if that's the case, how does a flat earther follow the guy? I don't know. Anyway, Sv3rige has this series of videos where he basically, I'm going to be honest here, as I always am, he cherry picks the really sickly looking vegans and puts an anthology, I guess, of those people's videos with them, their images in those videos, to some really creepy music. And the kind of vegan that he picks, in case you didn't know, is the really skinny, sickly looking one. The vegans that seem to be suffering mental health issues say some of the craziest shit out there. He likes to point out their deterioration over time, how when they're starting or before they start the vegan diet, they just look like normal people, and over time, and it doesn't even take that long sometimes, they seem to age dramatically. Their minds start going into a weird place, and they just, they basically start losing their shit. So he had made 4 of these videos so far, and this last one, he featured a lot of people, but amongst them, Gojiman, who is a vegan, soon to be, or so he says, nutritionist, studying nutrition somewhere in the UK, while at the same time practicing functional medicine, collecting people's sick vegans' poop, to be specific, and looking at it under a microscope or having someone else do that for him, trying to diagnose their gut problems and trying to help them solve those problems. From what I understand, he's been happening a couple people so far, but we don't know what the results are just yet. And I'm sure just as I am, all of you guys are patiently waiting to find out if indeed he could live up to his word and cure some of these sick vegans. I think he can. Permanently, not sure about that. I guess time will tell. Janine, are you there? Oh no.
Give me 30 more seconds.
No problem.
Sorry, I'm getting some.
Jesus. Anyway, as I was saying, Gojiman, in response to that video, basically sent some interesting emails to both Sv3rige. Well, I guess we're just talking about Sv3rige right now. So Sv3rige, for those of you who don't speak Swedish, he basically sent them a message saying, you know, you have to correct this video. You have to say that the reason why I have eczema and, you know, the reason why I look like shit is because I took an antibiotic 5 years ago and I haven't been able to recover my health since. A dubious claim, especially if you know what sunburn or eczema look like. For damn sure, in my opinion, don't sue me. It looked like eczema to me, not sunburn. And, you know, what?
Say bye when you're ready. It's okay, you can open the door.
All right.
Hey.
Hey, you're back. So basically, I was just explaining the whole story for some of the viewers who may not know what's transpired, and I'm right at the end, so just give me one last second. Basically, what Gojiman tried to do is compel Sv3rige to say this or that, and Sv3rige basically told him, well, fuck off, dude. I don't believe you. I'm keeping the video the way it is. You can't tell me what to do, what to say, so on and so forth. So Gojiman threatened with the lawsuit, but seems to have had a change of heart recently because of the backlash he had gotten from both, well, from everybody all around. And that's essentially last we heard of him. And we're here with Sv3rige and Janine to discuss, first and foremost, Sv3rige's video and the entire shitstorm that has followed. So, without any further ado, Janine, you with me?
Yes, I'm here. I'm back.
Thank God, because I think I need to get some. I think I need to get a sip of milk myself now. Anyway, obviously you saw the video, seeing as I'm talking about Sv3rige's video, seeing as you made a video about that yourself. What do you think, first and foremost, about Sv3rige's epitome of malnutrition? That video or the whole series, whichever ones you're familiar with.
The whole series, I feel, is whether it's he's picking videos, like cherry picking videos or not, I feel that it is eye-opening, awakening, stimulating for people to see this. And it kind of shocks you and it triggers you to think a little bit differently. It affected me a lot, you know. I honestly think it's a positive thing.
Yeah. Well, let me add something to that, because I personally have mixed feelings about Sv3rige. Like, I appreciate him. He's actually, for those of you who don't know, he's the reason why I got the courage to take plants out of my diet. And I am grateful for him to have opened my eyes. And I know personally, or through the people that I know of 5 or 6 people who have either given up veganism or given up vegetarianism because of Sv3rige. So even though I don't agree with some of his views or some of his philosophy, I think he plays an important role in opening people's eyes, like you said. And I know for a fact he's done that to at least 6 people. And that's where I live. It's not like internet acquaintances. It's people in my physical community.
I just spoke to a sweet lady yesterday, and she said it was solely because of the Epitome of Malnourishment series that she stopped giving her children a vegan diet. And her exact words were, "I stopped forcing my child to starve." And she was crying. Like she was, it was life-changing for her. She was crying and she was so grateful. You know, it opened her eyes.
I showed number 3 to a friend who is a vegetarian, and she watched the whole thing with her mouth open. And ever since she's been talking about eating meat, she upped her egg intake. Being a vegetarian, she started eating more eggs. She got a milk goat, started drinking more milk. And her boy actually came over not that long ago. He came over here and asked to buy some goat meat. He didn't end up eating
Wow,
it
you must have
because,
been so surprised.
well, getting a little bit off topic here, but I think it's a interesting anecdote. He would watch us work with the goats, and he watched us butcher a couple goats, and it never freaked him out. He would always stand there with his mouth open. He would touch it, check it out, like he was very interested in what was going on. Yeah, and not at all freaked out. And then one day after we butchered a goat, he came over here running, bought some meat. He was too chicken shit to eat it because he's never had meat before. You know how kids are. He didn't even give it a chance, but you know, his
you see what I said about my kids.
yeah,
I literally have to shred it. And I liked your comment. That really kind of jarred me as well when I made that like dirty mac and cheese with like the bacon grease, or I think it was liver and bacon grease or something like that. And I put it in their mac and cheese, and I'm like, yeah, they don't like to chew meat. And you're like, well, they need to chew to strengthen their jaw. And I'm like, you're right. So I've been like, I have to like shred it so they'll eat it, but it's a start, you know, they're getting much better, you know? Well, so thank you for that. It was a good idea.
Yeah. And it's always going to be better than, you know, eating a smoothie bowl or drinking a smoothie. The manliest food on the planet, seeing as all these bulky bodybuilders.
They still get their, they live up, like they love their smoothies.
Hey, I got nothing against smoothies. My wife drinks them, except they have milk and eggs in them, and you know, maybe a banana, some strawberries.
Exactly. My smoothies are raw, but they're full of like raw kefir, raw milk. I even put bone broth fat in them sometimes. There's always like a fat in there, and then some strawberries.
Cool. But let's get back on topic a little bit and about Sv3rige's videos in general, but especially the epitome of malnutrition or malnourishment. Is it? You know, yeah, it's true. He cherry picks a lot, especially fruitarians. It's the worst type of the vegan diet. And yeah, you know, we're not really sure if some of these people are mentally ill, if they were mentally ill before going on the diet and that's why they went on the diet, or if the diet made them mentally ill or worse. But the fact remains that if not all vegans, a lot of them, especially the long-term ones, they look like shit. They get sick, and you know, it questions the vegan diet. And just because there are some people who don't necessarily get sick or look good, we don't really know if they're truly vegan, you know, what supplements they take, so on and so forth. But you're definitely, with these videos and a lot of the testimonials from a lot of people, especially on Sv3rige's channel as well, you get to see that, you know, huge cracks have developed in this vegan ideology of, you know, being our natural, healthiest, the only diet we should be eating, right?
Oh, right. I wanted to say, okay, so it's not easy, it's not hard to cherry pick the fruitarians. You just grab any screenshot and and it's done. But like one thing I remembered about, okay, so you were saying what Sv3rige, I'm sorry, I try to say the name, So Sv3rige.
Don't worry about it.
He doesn't mind. He already said he doesn't mind. So anyway, so what he also like awoke in me. Okay, so I started eating meat before I started even knew who he was. Like, and that's what started me looking for, you know, other ex-vegans and stuff like that. So I started eating meat, but here I am eating like a giant. I'm still eating grains and vegetables and all this, and I was like, so you know, giant plates of food. I was doing OMAD, 1 meal a day, and you know, and so then I saw his videos about the vegetables and the shit. I'm like, oh man, I don't need to eat all these vegetables. So I tried it because I despise it. I hate buying them, cleaning them, chopping them, it was like gives me stress, you know. So then, because I was eating like a small portion of meat, like a handful, like in the palm of my hand. So then I started getting rid of all the grains, and I eat like mostly meat and animal products, and then like a side of like fruit. Man, my world changed. I have a whole new outlook on health now in life. Like I feel nourished for the first time in my entire life. And I have them to thank for that. Like I never in a million years would I have thought, don't eat your vegetables. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Well, the thing about vegetables that a lot of people don't understand is that it's really only like 4 or 5 of them that have been hybridized into 100 or so. You know what I mean? All like
Right. I don't know.
by vegetables, I mean leafy green leaves, basically.
Yeah, leafy.
Whether
Oh,
it's like kale, broccoli, lettuce, arugula, whatever the hell, they're all hybridized from one plant that actually grows wild around these parts as well. And
really?
in its wild form, it's really it's a type of mustard, or it's from the same family. It's really
Yeah,
spicy. It burns
spicy.
it burns the shit out of your throat. It's not very
Uh-uh.
palatable. It's not very tasty. People do
Yeah.
cook it and eat it like that, but you know,
Mustard too.
it's I don't know. It repels. It doesn't attract. You know what I
No.
mean? It's not something that I would eat. I've tried it. I don't like it.
Really?
It's kind of like horseradish
Ugh,
a little bit.
I don't
You
like
know.
that. I don't like that. It's not doesn't and then like I'll eat vegetables. I'm not against vegetables, but if somebody else prepares them, I'll eat them. Like I don't care. They're good like once in a while with butter and all that and sea salt. But I do not sit there and spend hours making vegetables anymore at all. Like we eat fruit, you know, and that's it. We eat fruit on the side. It's so much easier for me. It just fits my lifestyle. Anyway, now it I don't want it. Like it feels good not to eat it, not to eat vegetables, you know?
I do.
Yeah,
And just for the record, like I'm not against vegetables. It's eat
me
whatever
neither.
the hell you want. Eat whatever
Yeah,
makes you feel good. It's just that I'm still looking. I'm still trying to find something that doesn't make me feel suboptimal, and
yeah.
I haven't been able to find it. You know what I mean? Like
I don't have problems.
if I eat a leaf of lettuce, I'm fine. I don't notice
Yeah,
anything. If I eat
yeah,
a tiny bit of peanut butter, I'm fine. But if I
yeah.
eat a lot of peanut butter, I get brain
Right.
fog like crazy. So
Really? See,
yeah,
this is the thing. Nothing bothers me. My gut is so healed. I can eat everything. I can eat everything in abundance and nothing bothers me at all. And it never used to be like that until I am totally nourished my body with a high volume of animal foods.
totally.
You know, and now I'm nourished. And you know what I did yesterday? I was out driving around and I'm like starving and so I stopped and got like pistachios and I hadn't
Hmm.
eat like a decent sized bag of them and I hadn't eat them in a long time. I'm like, oh my God, I hope this doesn't kill me. And I just literally ate the whole bag and crossed my fingers. And shockingly, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Totally fine. I was like, okay. So emergency food, you know, I'm out on the road.
Yeah, we are omnivorous beings, obviously.
Hmm.
We've always eaten some
Yeah.
plants, but the problem with modern agriculture is that we never ate this much plant matter from all over the world, so hybridized and man-made, fake and
Yeah.
phony. So I think most people can do fine with a lot of plants, but there's a threshold of how much fiber or how many carbs or whatever you can handle. Uh, but anyway, let's try to get back on the shit talking, right? That's why we're here. We're here to talk
Yes,
some shit.
absolutely. Yeah.
So, I don't entirely agree with the message that Sv3rige's videos propose, even though I'm on board with that. If that makes any sense, like I support the message. It's an extreme message. It does.
Yeah.
He's not portraying every single vegan out there. It
Right.
would seem that some people can manage this horrible diet, and that's
It's
fine.
true.
But you know as far as what Gojiman, his reaction was to that, what were your initial impressions? What did you feel?
I Okay, I got pissed way before I saw that I'm gonna sue video. I got extremely pissed, and it'll make sense to you why I made that Gojiman sunburn video. As soon as I saw, as soon as I saw his picture up close of his eyebrows, because I don't watch his videos. I even told you, I'm like, I'm glad you watch him for me because I can't watch his videos. He irritates me too much. So I like when you break it down, his videos, I watch them. But anyway, so when in Epitome of Malnourishment 4, when they did the close up of his eyebrows, and I know that's seborrheic dermatitis. I'm 100% positive. And the fact that he lied and said it was sunburn, I just lost my shit then, and I started making a video about him. And then I heard later that he was, going to sue and all that, and I'm just like, oh, off the chain. Okay, my thing with him is the high horse thing. Okay, I feel like I could talk shit about him. I feel very comfortable doing that as an empathetic person. I still feel comfortable doing that because he was on such a high horse. And then once he got knocked off his horse, like, again, I learned that on your channel. Once he got knocked off his horse, I kind of feel a little bad for him. Like, I'm going to tone it down a little now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I'm somewhat impressed. I still think, I don't know if I should say all this, but
No, you should.
I have to watch what I say, I guess. I don't know. I don't want to get too personal about him. But anyway, I still think he is manipulative, whatever. But I feel a little bit better about him that he actually, because it takes balls to do that, to come out and apologize, even if he's faking it. You know what I'm saying? He got a lot of, crap from both sides. And that can knock someone down. How could it not? How could you go on being the same high horse after that? I don't think you can as a human. So I feel like he might have learned somewhat of a lesson. And I can respect him a little more now, if that makes sense.
No, it makes sense. Like, I don't have anything against the guy personally, and I wish him the best. I wish he would cure himself and so on and so forth. I just believe, and I could be wrong, that the way he does that is by eating at least some animal products. And
really, yeah, absolutely.
And this whole idea that his vegan diet doesn't have anything to do with his current state. I'm not saying there aren't other issues. Clearly there are, right? But at the same time, because he does lie, and it's obvious that he does. It's his right, whatever. But because he hasn't been honest, it's like, well, why should I believe anything you say? But he seems to have this. He seems to have this idea. He's pushing this idea that everything I say about me is true, and you can copy my autobiography, so to speak, but you can't write your own version of it. And if you stray from the script in any way, shape, or form, that's slander, which is just ridiculous. Like, dude, we don't have to believe anything you have to say because, well, we don't, for starters.
I know.
And you're a liar.
Honestly, that's what made me, again, solidify the fact that he was lying, and he knew he was lying about the sunburn. I hate to bring the sunburn back up again, but he was lying because he got so angry. He just lost it. He had such a hissy fit because of that, because his pride and his ego was totally like, I don't know, because he got exposed that he was lying, and he just lost it. If he was not lying, if that was really a sunburn, most people would be like, haha, that's funny, that's not a sunburn, or that's not seborrheic dermatitis, but whatever, and move on with their lives. Like, they wouldn't care. They feel confident in themselves. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think
I can understand him being pissed off because clearly he's trying to make a living curing people, vegans, whatever. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. However, the question becomes, look, dude, if you can't cure yourself, how are we to know? How are these vegans that? And I don't know if you've seen his test, but it's like $1,200 to do all of his tests.
No, I didn't know it was that much.
So if, let's say, you do a round of tests and he
Oh my
can't help
God.
you right
Great.
away, right? He gives you something and tells you what to do, and then a few months later, you got to do another round of tests. And is this going to go on for 5
And you
years?
do.
Like, how long is this?
Can I say something about that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Again, so I love to go back and forth with vegans. I kind of do. There's like a little sadistic thrill in me that does that. And I get sarcastic and I taunt them a little. Sorry, but it's true. Especially the vegan men. No offense, but like you heard what I said about them.
Yeah, but
So,
I need to know why. But I'll let you finish this point.
I'll tell you why. So what they all say is your gut, this, that, SIBO, Candida, you need to get this test, that test. Let's see your whole metabolic profile. I'm like, why? Like, I don't even think about that anymore. I don't have any gut problems whatsoever. Why should I go get tests? I don't think about my gut. I don't food combine. I eat fruit with meat, like everything that's not even on my mind anymore. If you only knew how content I was with my diet, like that's a vegan thing is what I'm saying. They're always getting tests. They're like, it makes them crazy because the more tests you take, I'm telling you right now, the more tests you take, the more confused you will be and the more broke you are going to be.
And this is why it's one of the reasons why the establishment loves the plant-based diet, because it's a permanent supply of patients for the industrial medical complex or the big pharma, what have you, right?
Yes, I didn't even want to go. The only reason I knew I was anemic when I became anemic last summer, the only reason that I went to get a blood test was one time to prove it on paper that I got a blood test, and so there's numbers. So when I do heal, I'm going to get another blood test and compare. You know what I'm saying? Just to expose. And that's when I started my channel. I'm like, I want to show that you can heal your body with food. So I started putting it out there, and I have the results. But see, here's the thing. This freaks me out a little because here I am anemic, and you want to take like, I don't know how much blood they take of like a pint of blood out of me to do one test. I'm like, again, I don't like that. Like, I don't want to go to the doctor. I need my blood. You know what I'm saying?
Do you drink blood? Or is that a little too much?
What you say?
Just out of curiosity, do you drink blood or is that just too much for you?
I just started. I do now. When I drink, so what I do is I put it in orange juice and I'll drink it. Like whatever is left over from the liver, I'll like pour out of the package into a glass of orange juice and drink it. Man, literally feel life coming back into my body.
Yeah, I've never been anemic, but we had an anemic hen one time. She was just sitting on eggs and not eating for a very long time. And we put blood in their coop, and she was the only one that wanted it. She just went right after it. Yeah.
Oh my God, I know how she feels. So now literally, I know, I understand the concept. This is gonna sound crazy, but I'm like, wow, I feel like a vampire. Like I need blood now. You know what I'm saying? Because my body I do not have enough blood in my body. I'm deficient of blood. Like, think about how serious that is.
So,
and so my body craves it,
If I remember correctly, I think you made a video a long time ago saying that you were still within this quote unquote healthy range as far as iron, but you were very much anemic, right? Did I get that right?
At the time, so it took me years on a plant-based diet for my iron to go lower and lower and lower and lower each year with each child and this and that. My body was never being replenished because I was eating so much fucking spinach. And this is what's weird. It didn't even cross my mind to eat meat. Like what? Like here I am counting spinach, black beans, molasses. I have this whole protocol. Like I had food supplements of how much liver I need or how much iron I needed to eat every single day. I was staunch about it, getting enough iron every day, 2 straight years. And then the army took my blood and said, you're anemic. Or they didn't say I was anemic. They said, you can't donate blood. Because they needed someone to donate blood and I'm type O negative. So they want my blood. They were following me around the hallways in the hospital, telling me to go donate blood.
But technically you were still within the healthy range.
I
What's
was
considered?
14 at that time. I think it was a number. I was a 14 at that time. The little pinprick. I said, fine, I'll go donate blood. I don't believe in it. It just goes against my, I don't know, for lack of a better word, beliefs to give and receive blood. I know it's necessary sometimes to save human lives. And so I did. I said, okay, I'm going to do this. And I went and I got the pinprick test, and they said, you cannot donate blood. You are 14. So that was it. Bye. So no one ever told me of the range that, okay, 12 was anemic. I was a 14, and they never said, look, you need to have go to see a nutritionist or whatever, because in the Army, they tell you where to go. Like if they see that you look sick, they're like, go to the ear, nose, and throat doctor. Or because I worked in a hospital, and if they see that you're mentally having a problem, depressed, they'll say, go to psych. You have to do it. It's an order. So nobody ever ordered me to go get a lab test, a full lab panel about, or have a discussion with me about my low iron. So 2 points above, check this out, 2 points above anemic, and I was top of my platoon physically. Okay. Right. So, you're invincible, you feel great. You can run, you can do all kinds of strenuous stuff.
So you felt good still?
I felt good until 2 points lower when I hit 10. Now I'm on death's door. 4 point. Do you see what I'm saying? A 4-point discrepancy from feeling like Superwoman to being on death's door. This is what I'm trying to make women aware of anemia. It's so, you don't think it's going to happen to you? You literally wake up and you're like, why can't I walk? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and this reminds me, because do you have headphones, by the way, or no?
I do. Am I yelling? I talk
No. I'm just, once in a while I'll hear an echo, and sometimes when people have you on the speaker, I don't know, maybe it's just an internal problem with Google Hangouts. But anyway,
I hear it with you too. But honestly, I might have to run in the other room to get them.
I don't know. No, that's fine. I think it's just Google Hangouts screwing up. But anyway, we're talking about blood tests, and it just occurred to me that a blood panel seems to be one of the best diagnostic tools as far as, trying to see what's wrong with you if you have any disease. And yet Gojiman, he doesn't offer that. He doesn't seem to think. So I don't know too much about that, obviously. But what do you think? Does he just have a poop fetish, or what the hell is going on?
Yeah. Oh my God!
Why not do a blood panel? You know what I mean? Why not? And here's another thing I'll add, because when I look at his tests, his stool tests, the two that he posted so far, both of those vegans were very low on vitamin B12, and I think even deficient.
Interesting. Interesting. I did not see those tests, nor do I want to even go there. I don't even want to see those tests. The fact that he wants a stool sample, who in the world is going to send Gojiman a sample of their poop? That's insane to me.
Well, the way it works is that you send it to a lab in Michigan, somewhere in the Midwest, I think. But I think, I'm not sure, don't quote me on this, I think for some tests you send a sample to his house also. So I don't know for a fact, but I think he does the organics acids test. He can't do that because that's a very advanced test. So there's only like 2 or 3 places in the world that do it.
He's practicing. If I was his wife, I'd be like, nope, no poop is coming to my house. No. She has to open packages like, oh no, hell no. So anyway, okay, so this is what I feel about it. I know for a fact that, reading blood tests, receiving somebody's blood, if you are not a medical doctor, receiving someone's blood, naturopaths, I don't even think they can do this. I'm not positive though. They can interpret it. Naturopaths can interpret it, but they cannot take your blood by their hand. It has to go to a lab first, right? So, but they're naturopathic doctors, right? So I know for a fact that it is an arrestable offense to interpret someone's blood work if you're not a doctor. It's called what is it? Interpreting a doctor or something like that. Practicing without a license. So I don't know if that applies to stool samples. Is he allowed to read stool samples? Is that practicing without a license? Like, and of course it's the UK, so I don't know their laws either, but it sounds kind of sketchy to me, honestly. And he's practicing. He's just started college, like he's just practicing, you know, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, from this website out of the UK that I read,
yeah,
nutritionists, which he's not yet, they cannot practice medicine. I think a dietitian would be able to do what he's doing, but that's not what he's studying for. So it's, I don't know. Maybe there's some kind of loophole or something's going on. You know,
maybe there's a loophole. Maybe there's a loophole. But I would love somebody to show us the loophole. Show me the loophole. And then we.
Well, like his wife could be a doctor. For all we know, his wife could be a doctor. You know
exactly.
What I mean?
Yeah. Like, where's the loophole? I'll shut up. Show me the loophole.
Maybe she's the one with the poop fetish.
Right. Oh my God. So weird.
I mean, look. Yeah, it's weird, but I guess it has to be done if he really wants to help these people. So, good luck, man. I don't begrudge him anything. It's just, I just hate the lies, man. It's just
it's so funny.
You know. and you know, if you're practicing, if you're a vegan and you're in the, let's say, the field of medicine, if you will, or nutrition, whatever, if you advocate for that diet, then I have to believe that you think that this is the diet that we should be eating. This is our natural diet. This is the healthiest diet, right? You're not an animal rights activist, first and foremost. You're a health practitioner. So why the fuck would you promote this diet when we see these horrible results in at least some people that eat that way? You know what I mean? It just doesn't seem very ethical. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he knows something we don't, which is why I would like him to talk to someone who's as qualified, if not more qualified than he, and correct us if we're wrong. I don't think we are, but like step up to the plate and have a debate with a nutritionist, like or someone who is familiar with the science.
And I also know, I'm pretty sure. Again, I'm pretty sure. I can't say I know everything, but about nutritionists and doctors even, and naturopaths even, I don't think they are allowed within the scope of their practice to recommend the vegan diet. Now, what they do is guide you if you insist, because people insist, well, I'm vegan, I can't eat that. I can't eat that. A nutritionist will tell you what to eat, and they say, no, I can't eat that. Then they tailor like a vegan version of what you are willing to eat as a patient. You know what I'm saying? So like they won't come in and say, oh, you need to go on a vegan diet, blah, blah, blah. But it's because people are so insistent on being vegan and they have to give them some sort of idea of nutrition. That's when they start tailoring a vegan diet for you. If you insist on being vegan. So they comply is what I'm saying. But that's not something they recommend right off the bat. I don't even think they're allowed to do that.
Well, and he's not studying vegan nutrition. I mean, so far as I understand, like the scientific realm still believes that we're omnivores, right? So how do you use those credentials to then push the vegan diet? I don't even understand that.
That's the first thing I noticed with the very first video I watched of him. I'm like, I even asked him, I even commented, and he replied. I said, why are you promoting the vegan diet when that's not what you're learning in school? You're not learning the vegan diet. They will never teach you the vegan diet in school. Like government nutrition, they don't teach you the vegan diet. So why are you promoting it? And I don't know, we had a little back and forth. He explained it a little bit at the time. And it's like me. I can read a book and promote the vegan diet too, or any diet or whatever. Promote whatever diet I want with no credentials. What I'm saying is, what's the point in talking about your master's if that's not what you're learning? If that's not what you're learning to promote diet.
I suppose the tools and the methods are the same. The tools definitely, So he's learning, he's learning how to use a microscope and
Right. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
how to interpret the test and all that. But there still
That's
seems to
interesting.
be quite a bit of discrepancy between what he's actually learning and what he's promoting. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
like if you take, and they always make fun of Dr. Sean Baker, that well, that's why he lost his license, is because he wasn't promoting what the establishment wanted him to promote,
Right.
right? And
Right.
but that's exactly what you're doing, and
What you're doing.
but you don't even have a license on the line here. You know what I mean?
But if he did, will it be? That's what I asked him. I said, if when you get your master's, when you get whatever credentials you're going to get, are you going to be allowed to promote the vegan diet within your like credentials, like without like risking them taking it away? Like I don't know. I don't know how they would.
Yeah, I think give it a couple of years when veganism
Mhm.
becomes a religion
Right.
in the
Right.
UK. They're working very hard to make that happen right now. Yeah,
I lost you for a
he's gonna have
second.
full support of the authorities. Just give it a couple more years.
I lost you for a second when they doing what in the UK?
They are There's a discussion going on, and it's kind of a circus so far, but it'll evolve
Yeah.
into something a lot more serious. But what they're discussing
Mm.
right now in the media is having veganism ratified, giving it this protective status
Oh God.
that like your gender, your religion has
Oh
right
my.
now. You know what I mean?
Discrimination, like a discrimination status, or
Exactly, where employers cannot discriminate you based on you being a vegan, right? It's
that's fine. Don't get. I don't think they should fire anyone for being a vegan. That's fine. But I know it goes further. It's gonna. It's gonna. Its tentacles are gonna.
of course.
Reach into our rights, my rights. You know what
Well,
I'm saying?
it all started with race, and it makes sense to all of us, right? Because
Yeah.
no one wants to be racist. However, I
Right.
believe that you should have the right to be an asshole, as long as you're not hurting. And I'm not talking about
Right.
feelings. As long as you're not hurting people, whatever. It's your right to be a piece of shit. I believe that. I really do. So
And
they
yeah.
sold us on this idea of racism bad, and okay, fine, I'll buy that. But that doesn't mean that the government should be punishing people for being racist. You know what I mean?
Right.
I
Right.
don't believe.
Yeah. They'll get punished in the court of opinion. What is it called? The just
Public
their
opinion, yeah.
public opinion. They'll get punished in their own neighborhood, in their own town, and stuff like that. These people aren't happy. Like if let them be. I get that. I get if they're not hurting anyone, damaging, vandalizing. They're gonna end up alone and grumpy. Like if they're gonna act like
Yeah.
that towards other humans, that's their punishment.
I
You
mean,
know what I'm saying?
if you decide not to hire the more qualified person because they're vegan, you're only screwing yourself over. So,
Yeah, that's
you're
true.
probably going to eventually go out of business anyway.
Right.
So,
Right. I could see a small business, honestly, where you don't really want to work with a vegan person. Like, okay, no, let me take that back because I work with vegans. I do the farmers markets. I I I I come in contact with a lot of vegans in real life, but
mhm.
they are not. They're normal. You know what I'm saying? They're normal. Like I have no we can sit side by side and chat the whole time that we're at the market together. The girl next to me, I'm selling raw milk. The girl next to me is selling, vegan bread. And she's a very nice girl. And we talk about her kids. We talk about everything. Veganism never really comes up just once in just a smidge, and then
Isn't most bread vegan?
I don't know what the deal was with her, but she had like treats and all this stuff. But I do know that she was vegan, and
Yeah, yeah.
but she wasn't out there. She wasn't off the chain. She didn't act all crazy about it. She didn't tell anybody. We just knew because we knew her, and that was it. Oh, she worked for a vegan.
She might be a vicious troll online. You just don't know.
I don't think so. She was pale as.
No, I'm just fucking around. I don't.
Oh, okay.
No, it's there's definitely it takes a special person, I guess. It's a different demographic of these militant vegans online, even though
Yeah, it's
you do
online.
see them in real life as well here and there, but they don't seem to be as numerous as just people who eat a plant-based diet, right? But as far
Yeah.
as working with a vegan, I wouldn't mind. I mean, we had a vegetarian that worked with us for a long time,
Right.
but you know,
Wasn't it like a
if
normal working relationship? It didn't affect your working
no,
relationship, did
no,
it?
she was cool. We talked about
Yeah,
diet all the time. You know, I was
yeah,
always like, you gotta eat some eggs, girl. You know,
yeah.
you gotta drink more milk, so on and so forth. And
Well,
we would
once
talk, but
I,
if I mean, we have
go ahead.
animals, so she, you know, she wouldn't be working if she were vegan, right? Which is
She wouldn't
extreme,
even work on your farm.
obviously.
Right,
So it's not
right,
quite the same. But if I were to work with a vegan and they were cool, that's fine. But if they were to completely
right.
nag me all the time, yeah, I wouldn't want to work
No,
with
hell
them, and
no.
I would give
Exactly.
them the
So
boot.
where does the law, like, what, so they're going to make a regulation about that? Well, what about, well, maybe you shouldn't bring it up to nag your boss or something like that so you can keep your job.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I don't think the government should be legislating morality, period. At
Too
least not
much.
until it proves that it's moral itself. This the authorities, that is, right. I mean, come on.
Hmm.
You go bomb innocent people in Syria or wherever in the Middle East, and then you turn around and tell me that I can't say anything bad about Muslims. Like, get the fuck out of here. The
I
hypocrisy.
know, right?
You know what I
That's
mean?
a great analogy. Like, whoa, puts it in perspective. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I was lucky enough, I never got sent to Afghanistan. I got sent straight to the hospital in the army, and I was just like, shoo, dodged a bullet there, and I got the hell out as soon as I was like, no, this isn't me. I gotta go. You
What
know,
function
so
did you have in the army? What fun were you just
I was I was a medic. I was an combat medic, they call them, even though I never saw combat. But they train you to be a combat medic and also an EMT. So I learned like the clean hospital
Mhm.
side of medic, and then
Did
I
you go
learned
to
like the
nursing school
field
or
medic.
something? Did you go to nursing school, or like what are
No,
your
no,
qualifications?
just an EMT. I'm an EMT.
Okay.
An esthetician. I'm trying to get my license back. It's not that hard. I got to take a test, and also I did a lot in the hospital, work side by side with doctors in minor procedure surgeries, colonoscopies, all that stuff. I saw a lot, and I don't want to go back and work in my field. The medical establishment, it was kind of like a little thrill to me to do that because I'm so against hospitals and doctors, honestly. For me to do that was just like a test, like walking on the wrong side of the tracks for me. Like, know your enemy in a way. I hate to say enemy is a strong word when it comes to hospitals and doctors, but for me it was like know your enemy. I wanted to know what it was like to work in a hospital, what it was like to work with nurses and doctors and stuff like that. And I learned a lot, and I'm stronger in my convictions now because of it. But they're
Right
just
on.
human. They're just human, you know.
Hey, so I meant to ask you because you mentioned it. What is it
What?
about vegan men that turns you off?
Oh yeah. Okay, so there's so the vegan women, I love the vegan women. Like
Uh-huh.
I have a soft spot for them. I feel like empathy and sympathy for them.
Because you've been there.
So because I've been there. And my mom, oh, I got a great story. I got a positive, happy, like my life is okay now about my mom. But anyway, my mom was a vegan for 10 years. I watched her waste away and get sick. My two daughters are anemic, like because I raised them wrong. You know what I'm saying? So it's like personal, like the women, you know what I'm saying? So then when the men, they come in and they say, oh, you need to just do this, this, and this. I'm like, who the hell are you? I was like, don't talk to me until you come back and you bleed every month for 30 years. Then you can tell me what I need to eat. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think they should be telling vegan women, like what they need to eat, or any woman at all. I'm saying no offense to men at all. It's just the vegan men. And then they're so passive aggressive. Like,
Beta.
they're passive aggressive. They come in on my channel and they slightly stalk me and commenting on every single video and starting this long ass. I don't respond to them. I'm like, I cannot read that comment. It's like a lecture. I'm not going to read that. Write me another comment. Keep it short and sweet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
can get mad, based on what I say, but to me, it seems like veganism. I mean, we know it attracts mostly women, and
women,
then this
yeah,
moniker "soy boys" that we give to vegan men.
boy
Is it
boys,
is it
yeah.
really because of the soy, or is it because they're already kind of beta and effeminate in the first place. You know what I mean?
I think I don't know if it has anything to do with the soy necessarily. That's part of it. I think it has something to do with the entire deficiency as a whole. The minerals. Okay, men are not getting zinc. I don't care how many freaking Brazil nuts you're going to eat. You're not getting zinc. You're not getting iron. Like if you're going to eat spinach and kale and all that, there's, in my experience, the iron is not available. You don't even feel it when you eat, like, you know, spinach every day. You don't feel amazing. When you eat liver, instantly you feel amazing. Okay, so I've seen the difference. So they're not getting the minerals that they need to make them a man. You know what I'm saying? To keep them manly.
Yeah,
And so
I figured that's what it was essentially. Yeah, I got you.
zinc. I don't know if you've ever eaten oysters before as a man, but if you eat oysters as a man, raw oysters, you're going to feel like a man later that day. I promise you.
I've
I
had Rocky
promise you.
Mountain oysters. They do the same.
Really? What are
Yeah.
those?
Well,
It sounds familiar.
technically they're pig testicles, but I had goat testicles, and let me tell you, they're delicious. No homo.
I don't know, man. See, I don't know about that. I'll stick with right. So I live on near the ocean and stuff. So oysters are abundant in my town. And I moved to New Missouri one time. Oh my God, there was no oysters within like 10,000 miles or something. There was like we went to every possible store. There was no oysters. We had to get these canned, disgusting black oysters, like olds looking. That's all there was available. I feel sorry for them out there in the Midwest. They don't have
Hey,
oysters.
I noticed Carnival Life is, whoa, bad feedback.
Is he?
Anyway, I don't know where he lives, but I saw him buying a bunch
Yeah,
of frozen, like a whole
really?
sack of frozen oysters somewhere.
I don't know where he lives. See, that sounds like frozen, fresh frozen. That's how they sell them here. You go to the fish market and you get a bag of frozen oysters, like they're fresh frozen, and you take them home on ice. That's another thing. You have to take them home on ice. Like you can't just walk around with oysters that are not on ice. You can't just drive home with them. You have to keep them on ice. So I don't know. I guess you could hey, maybe you can have high oysters. I'm sure that's a thing. I'm sure that's okay. I don't know. But oh man, I wanted to say, I just saw it this morning, and I've been wanting to. I've been wanting to watch it for days now since I saw you say something about your food poisoning.
Uh-huh.
I finally had the time to see it this morning. Ooh, that's scary. That's scary.
Yeah, it didn't feel good. I didn't think like I was gonna die, but it felt like dying.
I'm
I knew
sure.
I wasn't gonna, but that's how it felt.
Yeah. But you probably do what I do. You're like push I've been to where I felt like I was going to die too. And I'm just like, leave me alone. I'll be fine. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. I did not want to see a doctor, that's for sure.
No, hell no. I would honestly, I even said, I'm like, I'd rather die than go see a doctor. But I know, and like, I know that's not true. That's just me running my mouth. But you know what I'm saying? But I was like, I made it out alive. And I'm like, shoo, that was a close call. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But,
I just felt that like I'm young enough, and right before I got sick, I was already eating carnivore, so I felt like extra strong and vigorous, and I figured I'll get over this. And I did.
oh, that's what I wanted to ask you. So then I saw, okay, so you're eating like this high meat
Hmm.
after the fact that you
Yeah.
got your food poisoning, after you had already somewhat were back on your feet, right? Or did you start eating it during?
No, after I was fine, like
Okay,
99% fine, yeah.
that's what I wanted to ask you. Do you think that if you would have eaten that raw fermented or high liver, whatever you're eating at the time, right? High liver. If you
Hmm.
were eating that high liver the day like you got food poisoning, do you think it would have helped you?
I have no idea, but if I had
I
to
think it would have.
guess, I think it would have, because I still had like a little symptom, a lingering symptom that was recurring
Yeah,
now
the
and
headache. I
again.
saw that. I saw
Yeah,
that.
and that went away when I was eating
Huh.
the liver. It kind of came back just a little bit the other day, but
Yeah.
not nearly as powerful.
Right.
And I'm making a lot more liver, and if I can, I'm gonna eat that shit every day. Like I'm
Well,
not
I was
even
gonna
joking.
say, right, at least one bite every day, or always keep some, rotate them, and always keep a small jar in the fridge to use as medicine. If that, God forbid, that ever happened to you again, or you got some other sort of illness, acute illness, take a piece of that fermented liver. And I have a feeling, because okay, the food poisoning is going to be clearly your entire gut is destroyed. Like
Yeah.
whatever you had going on is just completely, there's a tornado going on in there. It's completely unbalanced. So I think that adding the fermented liver would have just been like ammunition to heal. It's applying all these like live enzymes and bacteria into your body to help you fight whatever was going on. I think it would have helped a lot. And I think that gave me an idea. I'm like, I should keep this in my fridge for, medicine. You know what I'm saying?
Right after I eat it, I get like a burst of energy. It's not like drinking a Red Bull. It's not anything like that.
I know.
But you
It's different.
definitely feel it. You definitely
It's
feel
different.
it. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and it lasts. It feels good, and you just want to eat more of it. And I was just gonna send a tip out to people, because I'm actually experimenting with this myself.
Uh-huh.
You run out of liver and you want to make some more, and all you got is a dirty jar and some fresh liver. Just put it right back in there with that same bacteria that's
Thanks.
already populated it, and
Uh-huh.
it'll turn a lot faster. That's what
And
I'm.
that's how you make
Yeah,
kefir. That's how you make
exactly.
apple cider vinegar. That's how you ferment almost everything. You use a little bit of that, like buttermilk and stuff like that. Use a little bit of the old batch and put it in a new fresh batch.
It'll go
That's
quicker.
cool.
Yeah,
Cool. Yeah.
because the
That's
one
like
that I had took 4 months. I mean, it was amazing, but
yeet.
I don't think it needs to take that long.
No, you know what? Yeah, you're right. And you know what? I don't want to I like the idea of putting it in the fridge.
Mhm.
Putting it on the counter, I don't know if I do that.
Well, what
You put it in
my wife said about that is that the bacterial profile might be completely different because of the temperature. And
interesting.
I'm
Right.
not to say that that would be bad, but
It's
maybe
right.
there are certain
Yeah.
strains of bacteria that
Yeah.
that proliferate in warmer temperature better than, well,
And you know
most of
what?
them do, but the balance might be different, is what I'm saying.
Right. As you experiment, your body is going to tell you what is right, like how to do this. Like
Yeah.
you're gonna really notice like your intuition, and you're like, it's like epiphanies. You know what I'm saying? You get to know your body. When you experiment with food, and you're really like, you're not willy-nilly about it. If you're like, okay, this batch, this batch, this batch, and you keep trying them, and your body will tell you eventually. All the answers are within you. Every answer every question you've ever had in your life or will have in your life, you already know the answer to. It's intuition, like health intuition
Hmm.
specifically. Your body will tell you what is good and what is bad when you're fermenting with that liver. That's good.
Yeah, and following up on that, I don't want anyone out there listening to us getting sick. So when you
Right.
try to take that plunge, uh, just eat very little at first and wait a couple days, 2, 3 days, right? Just to be sure. Uh,
I have
you
something to
know,
say about that as well, because people have comment to me all the time. Well, I drank raw milk and I had diarrhea. Okay, well, you need to drink, if you've never drank raw milk in your life or kefir, you need to drink 1 ounce of raw milk, and that's it for the day. And any fermented foods, if the first time you eat them, if your gut is not, you know, um, it's not like homeostasis, then the gut microbiome
mhm.
adjusts with the food that you put in the body. It starts adjusting, and that causes sometimes nausea, diarrhea, this and that. So don't just down a big glass of kefir, or like you were saying, like all this meat. You take a tiny piece at first and let your body, the microbiome, grow to adjust to be able to digest that and absorb the nutrients. That's a good,
Yeah.
yeah, good tip for people.
From what I understand, I mean, everyone's always talking about the gut microbiome, and by no means am I an expert. But
Me
apparently,
either.
we're learning that it's not just the gut microbiome. We have a microbiome in our mouth, obviously, but also in our brain, which for the longest we believed was sterile.
Really?
It's not. Yeah. So,
I
like
didn't know that.
going back to high meat, when you put that bacteria in your mouth, does it really take that long, or is it really that quick to go from your gut to your brain? Maybe. I don't know, but I'm also wondering if, as soon as you put it in your mouth, if that bacteria
Yes,
is going to your brain somehow as well. I don't
that's
know.
what
I'm just it does get you high, literally.
that's what I feel. I have never had fermented meats or even wanted to try fermented meat. Funny story, the that vegan YouTuber Lil Cheetah, have you heard of him?
Yeah.
Lil Cheetah. I actually like him. I respect him. I watch his channel. Anyway, out of nowhere, out of the blue, he posts something about carnivores, and he included me. It's something about rotten meat, and he
Uh-huh.
included me, and he was just like, which was funny. I loved it. I was like, "Hey, man, you're talking about me. That's cool." But he's like, "Yeah, Sv3rige, Janine, she eats this." The way he said it is so funny. She eats this rotten fucking meat every single day, and I'm thinking, dude, I've never tried that in my life. But I thought it was so funny. I didn't blow his cover though. I didn't like correct him. I just let
Yeah.
him. I didn't want to burst his bubble. You know what I'm saying?
No, I
I was
do. I do.
surprised. I was
I watch
surprised for him this
some of
weekend.
his videos once in a while for entertainment value. I mean, he's sometimes entertaining. I don't get into all
Well,
of his videos because he just makes so many.
right,
But yeah, I know who you're talking
right.
about.
Well, he has got. This is why I actually support him and respect him, and I speak. I kind of promote him a little, like verbally, because he he's a vegan, right? He eats oysters. Okay. Why? Because he says he is the one to admit the vegan diet is deficient and he wants to keep his muscles and he wants to keep his sex drive. So he eats oysters. And he does not in any way, he's been a vegan for 2 years, anyway, act like an effeminate, like vegan, like a lot of men do that go on a vegan diet because he eats oysters. I think that's instrumental. If you're a vegan man, you need to eat oysters. You're going to turn effeminate. Like, I don't know. That's my idea. But anyway, I can respect him is what I'm saying because he puts it out there on his channel. And again, that takes a lot of balls to do that, to say I'm vegan, but I eat oysters because my diet is deficient and I know that. You know what I'm saying? I can respect that so much and that it really is going to help people. So I talk, I like him. I don't care what anyone says. Like, I think he's kind of cool about that as far as that goes.
As far as I can tell, and I know this from real life experience as well as communicating with people online, most of these so-called vegans out there, they supplement with fish oil. You know, they will quote unquote cheat
Right.
once in a
Really?
while. All these
Yeah.
bodybuilders, I don't know about all of them, but quite a few of them admit to taking creatine supplements, and naturally you can only
Wow.
get creatine from animal products, right?
Wow.
So
Right.
they're
And the deer
it has
antler
to be.
and stuff like that.
Yeah, I take it as cognitive dissonance because it's like, look, if meat is so bad,
Mm-hmm.
why are you extracting, so to speak? It's not exactly what happens, but why are you extracting like creatine uh, from the meat, so
Oh,
to speak?
there's
Like,
so
why
many.
are you doing that if meat is so bad for you, right?
And honestly, I don't think they know because they're just like, oh, they're just like new hip like vegan Instagrammers or whatever like that. And again, of course, you feel good the first couple of years on the diet. You feel really good and energetic and stuff. A lot of people do. I did, but like they don't know. I don't think because it takes like a militant type of like you have to read everything, every fine print, all labels to know what's in your foods. I don't think they know what they're taking sometimes. They're just like, this is a supplement for bodybuilders, so I'm gonna take it. And like even the drugs, like people will take like hormone replacement drugs and stuff like that. And that comes straight from a horse's urine, a pregnant horse's urine. So many medical drugs and supplements come from animals or there's some sort of animal process along the way. I just don't sometimes I don't think they really know. They're just
All
like,
of these, not all, but a lot of these plant so-called milks, they use natural flavoring, and I don't have proof for any
oh,
of this, but one
right.
one of the ingredients used in, or one of the ingredients extracted uh, is from milk. So if you're putting natural,
What?
quote unquote, natural flavorings in almond milk, where do you think that comes from,
Are you
right?
kidding me? What is the ingredient? I need to
Well,
know.
they
Is it
take, no, if it just says natural flavoring
uh-huh.
or something along those lines, look up what that
Right.
means exactly.
Oh,
That could be any kind of flavor extracted from all sorts of plants and animal foods, actually.
Right.
So my reasoning here, my train of thought is this: if you're selling almond milk and it says natural flavors on there, what kind of flavor are you trying to mimic here, right?
What are
Where
you
you getting
drinking?
this flavor from? So
Right.
unless it
What are you drinking?
specifically says vegan on there, I presume, I'm guessing here, it has animal products in it. And I mean, I don't care. Let the vegans do what they will. I'm just saying they seem to think that they could live in society free,
Hypocrisy.
devoid of like animal products, and that's damn near impossible because animal products are in everything. You know what I mean?
Right. It's so true. Yeah, I agree.
And
And I know natural flavoring part. One thing that is that would be considered natural flavoring is that like red bugs, the ground up red bugs that they use for coloring and flavor or something like. They put it in ice cream or something like that for some sort of what is it? Smooth texture or something like that.
oh yeah,
Or
it's emulsifiers.
emulsifier, and they use like, and also they use like to put in different kind of like to make it creamy. They use something from like the anal glands of some animal. Do you know? Remember what it was? No, you don't know? Like a raccoon or something crazy. Like they use
Raccoon buttholes.
I don't know, but it was like no, it's a real thing. I swear to God.
Okay.
But it's in your food and it says natural flavoring.
No thanks. I won't be eating that.
Yeah, right. It's funny.
But yo, getting back on topic a little bit here. What do you think? What do you think is going to transpire with Gojiman? You think he's gonna come back to YouTube and keep curing vegans? You think he's gonna lay off trying to start lawsuits?
I think okay, a little dark, like twisted part of me thinks that okay, here I am saying I can commend him for falling off his high horse and admitting it. But then the evil side of me says his wife probably said, "Get the," you know what I'm saying? You're not doing this anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, this is ridiculous, huh?
This is ridiculous. On our anniversary, you're posting this and this and that. And imagine
Oh, that's a
she
good
used
point.
to hear
Yeah.
it all day. She used to hear it all day. I'm sure he rants to her all day. And the backlash, and he's probably really depressed and upset about it. And she's probably like, you know what? This is take a break or whatever like that. You know what I mean? So part of me thinks it was his wife that is making me, because you know, women, your wives have a really high influence on you. And
they do.
and that's just the way it is, you know. So I can't imagine his wife sitting idly by and allowing all of this to happen. And I'm sure he's extremely depressed about it and ranting and mad and all this and online, all of his time is being taken up. And she's probably like, okay, it's either me or freaking YouTube, you know? So part of me thinks that's what happened. I don't know why.
He has so much on his plate also. It's
too much. You're going to school. Come on. Man, that's just too much. You're going to school, you have a brand new wife, and it's like a full-time job being online with your commenters and stuff like that. So yeah, and
you know, like a big reason why I went after him is because, well, he also threatened me. Obviously, I'm not high profile enough for him to, you know, put me in too many videos or anything like that. But I figured, you know, like I was personally affected and I was pissed off, and obviously I felt threatened. So I started to bark back. But also I was kind of hoping more people would just jump on him. And I'm glad you guys, you know, like you made the video. I'm glad Cynthia made a video, because I figured, you know, if all these people come at him all of a sudden, there's no way he can pay all these lawyers to shut all these channels down. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's another thing. His wife was probably like, hell no, you're going to hire a lawyer for this? No way. This is going to be years in litigation. Different countries, think of the difficulties and the ridiculousness of how stressful this would be. And if I was his wife, I'd be like, hell no. She's probably, if he's going to school, who knows about his personal life, but you know, when you're going to school full time, usually your spouse is paying all the bills, you know, and she's probably like, hell no, you know.
You know,
So.
if he thinks he could sue someone in Ecuador, let me tell you something. There are all these deadbeat dads here in Ecuador.
Right.
Basically, the way they escape the law is they just move because they're not paying alimony, for example, right? They just
Right.
move to a different city, and that's that.
Right.
Like you just
Try to
can't
find
find
them.
them.
Good luck
Yeah,
finding them.
and you know the what to call it? I don't know. The litigation industrial complex isn't really very well developed here in Ecuador. They would laugh his ass out of an Ecuadorian
Right.
court for
Oh.
some online bullshit. And like if he were to go after Tristan, all Tristan has to do is like disappear for a while or go
Right.
on a trip to Peru or something. And what do you do then? Nothing.
Right.
So
and the stress, exactly, the stress of this being just prolonged. You know, as a woman, I would, if that was my husband, I would be like, hell no, take a break.
But he can, whether it's legitimate or not, it's debatable, but he can take your channel down simply because you know he's going to claim copyright, and if you get 3 copyright strikes within a certain period, there goes your channel basically.
Right.
So that's a real threat.
I only bring up his wife because he brought her up, because he said, oh, this is my anniversary, and I'm like, you idiot. Really, this is my anniversary, and I have to put this video out now on my anniversary. Oh, I could have snapped him right there. But about the copyright strikes, you won't believe this. They can copyright strike you for literally any one of your videos, whether it is a copyright or not. Like I made a video with my granddaughter, my 2-year-old granddaughter, and I think or my 5-year-old daughter, one of them. It was just me and her in the kitchen alone. No audio, no music was on, no TV was on, and we were making I call it a Primal kids snack. We were rolling up hot dogs and cheese. And that freaking video got copyrighted and taken down for an entire month. No explanation. Just a random lady. I didn't even know who the hell she was. I emailed her and I'm like, what are you doing? What's going on here? She didn't reply back, and that's it. I appealed it and it came back on. You know, I won the appeal, but it took a whole month, no explanation, you know, nothing.
I held a kitty up by its scruff in a video one time, and it was meowing, right? And somebody flagged my video down for animal abuse.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't get a strike. I didn't get a strike on my account, but enough of those, you know, flag downs, and I suppose you do. I don't know.
I think I got an actual strike for this fucking hot dog video. And YouTube, nobody, you write to them, what is this about? There's no explanation ever comes to you. You just have to wait like the 30 days or whatever till they review it. And I was pissed.
And you usually get it back up. It's usually not a problem. But if you get, if you get 2 more within that period of time while your video is down, there goes your channel. Yeah.
I think if I was to get another strike in that same 30-day time frame, I think I would shut down my YouTube temporarily until it was cleared up, just to save my YouTube. But still, that will hurt you. That hurts you getting your voice out there. You know, it's not fair. It's bullshit. You know, I don't know how they could remedy that. I'm sure it's a pain in the ass to deal with everybody's copyright strikes. Like, it's like bullshit copyright strikes to deal with that. I know there must be a law out there, but then maybe a better plan, a better system YouTube needs to come up with to decipher these, you know?
Oh, no, I think they like it exactly the way it is. And I'm afraid it's only going to get worse.
Okay.
But I'm glad he, changed his mind, at least for the time being, and seems to be thinking more rationally. And, the other thing is that he's a professional, or soon will be, whatever the case. Right. He has to act a certain way, and he can't be just going after people with frivolous lawsuits. You know what I mean? It doesn't reflect very well on him as a professional.
Or as a man. Think of your reputation.
Yeah.
Your word. That's all you got. Your word, your reputation.
And you start suing people. You start suing people left and right. It's gonna come back and bite you in the ass. I mean, it already seems like what you're doing is a little shady anyway. Sketchy. You know what I mean? So
enough, he's drawing attention to himself, to the sketchy part. Okay, whether what he's doing is totally legal or not, we don't know that. Where it looks sketchy to the average Joe.
And
You
look,
know,
just for the record, I have no problem with that. Like, I know the law might be different, whatever. If he can legitimately cure people, like, more power to him. Let him do that, and people are willing to pay. Then yeah, fuck yeah, free market, no problems. I'm
I'm
not
not
saying
going to
that
give
the
him any money, right?
no, I agree. Because with his message, I disagree. But if there are people willing to pay him for his services, and he is providing a service that's worthwhile to these people, then the government should stay the fuck out of it. But
So
laws are
true.
laws, and if you start
Mhm.
calling the police on people for bullshit, well, the
Mhm.
same might come around and bite you in the ass. That's all I'm saying. I don't have a
And
problem with
honestly,
ethically. I don't have a problem with what he's doing.
me neither at all. It's your choice. It's if you want to. It's That's another thing. When you take the power away from the people to make choices, this is what I learned from working at the farmers market. Everybody's a small little business, side deal there. They bake bread, they make soap. Like I make soap as well. They sell the milk, they sell their wares, their jellies and jams. Okay, so when you take that choice away, whether you want to buy from somebody that's regulated or not, um, that kind of dumbs you down. It makes you completely reliant on the government to tell you exactly what you can and cannot eat. There's no freedom of food choice.
Yeah.
And okay, so the lady that bakes bread next to me, I buy her bread all the time, or she gives me bread all the time, I should say. And there's no way, like, I just know, you get to know your local, like, farmer, you get to know your local baker, and it's your choice whether you trust their methods or not. It's, they're saying, oh, you got to have all these regulations because all of this is unregulated and unsafe, so you're not allowed to have it. I just think that's wrong.
All it is another form of taxation. It's just theft. Like with raw milk, for example. The
Yeah,
reason why raw milk has become illegal in so many parts of the world is
yeah.
because I forget if it was the Rothschilds or the Rockefellers, and this ain't no conspiracy theory, all right? You can find articles about this from like 1920s or something. What they did is they invented a pasteurizing machine for milk,
Yikes.
and
Yeah,
they got in that business in order to not only sell
business.
their infrastructure, but also to be able to control the dairy industry, full and complete control over our food. And while at the same time, they also have their hands, and Tristan would, he knows a lot more about this shit. But on the other hand, they have their hands in the pharmaceutical industry. So what they do is they take out the probiotics out of the milk, right? By
Right,
pasteurizing it. They take out the vitamins, and then they sell
right.
you the probiotics and lactase
Separate. Yeah.
and all the
What's the
enzymes
difference?
separate. So it's just all about
Holy
making
shit, I
money.
never thought of that.
Yeah.
The difference. Why am I allowed to go buy? Oh my God, that's insane. Why am I allowed to go buy probiotics in the store for $50 a bottle, and you don't
Exactly.
know if that shit even works or not? What is it? And I have to buy a dead food milk product in the store, and then like separately, they're both for sale. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's
Why?
a huge industry. Now you have to buy, enzymes and probiotics in order to be able to drink
Um,
milk that is devoid of these things which occur in it naturally. It's
you're gonna.
such a fucking scam.
I think the dead food, because I was raised on pretty much chicken, vegetables, grains, oatmeal, and all that. But my mom, I will never forget, we did not have a lot of money. So my mom would buy boxed, powdered skim milk. It was all I knew as a child. It was pretty much white water. Okay, dead food product. It was just there was no nutrition in this whatsoever. I'm
Maybe
sure it
some
was
protein. Some
yeah,
protein.
maybe
Yeah.
you're right. You're right. Protein. But maybe it was fortified. I'm sure it was fortified. So okay, so now here I am drinking full fat cream, raw milk. It's half my diet. But yeah, yes. Oh, this is what I wanted to say about that. So my whole life, until I was like in my 30s, I drank this like dead food product, this store bought milk, and I gave it to my kids. That to me is equivalent to a vegan diet. Why? Because there's no nutrition in that. I mean, you get your protein. There's literally no of the nutrition in that milk that you will have in raw milk. So it's kind of like it's just calories. It's just, and it equivalates you to being on a deficient diet, which I equate with the vegan diet. Like it might as well be vegan. There's just no damn nutrition in it, is what I'm saying. You know?
Yeah, I mean, that's the plan, right?
Yeah. I'm
So
good.
I was gonna ask you because I'm curious. You were vegan, like fully vegan, or you just
Yeah.
didn't like meat? Okay, so you went
Okay.
vegan for how long?
This is a long story. This goes back to the day, like since I was a child. Okay, so I was raised, like I said, on the white water. I call it just powdered skim milk.
The white
I
water that
don't
made you pee like bright yellow,
yeah, fortified. So I asked my mom this recently. I'm like, Mom, did we ever eat eggs as a kid? I don't remember eating eggs. And she's like, I don't think so. And my mom was trying to raise 3 children on her own. So she did what she could, what she can afford. And I know for a fact, I only remember eating like a handful of times in my entire childhood, a handful of times red meat. I think she made meatloaf once or twice and then hamburger once or twice. But that was like a luxury. That was something she couldn't afford as a single mother of 3, living in Miami and stuff. It's expensive.
huh?
So that was a luxury. So we basically lived off chicken and like some whatever cheap white fish. So there's no iron in these foods. There's very, very low iron in chicken and also this white fish. So my entire childhood, a child needs iron. Okay, a child can become anemic just as well as a woman of childbearing age. So I feel like I started my anemic journey literally from childhood, slowly, right? And so when I became 15 years old, I saw back then vegan wasn't a word. There was no internet. It was just me, and I saw like a little pamphlet of like being tortured and stuff like that, like the farm animals. Right
Yeah,
then and there, I read that pamphlet, immediately made the decision to not eat. I didn't say I was going to be vegan because that wasn't a word that I knew of. So I
right.
said, I'm not eating. So, and I was 15, like I said, no internet, no recipes, nothing like that. I just ate whatever my parents gave me, and I just removed the animal products that I could physically see. So I'm sure there might have been some ingredients that they used to cook with or whatever that I didn't. So I saw chicken, didn't want it, didn't eat the milk. You know what I mean? So from age 15 to 20, that's how I or maybe 19, like from age 15 to 19ish. It was strictly like vegan, no meat, no animal products that I knew of for someone my age and experience, right? So
Yeah.
then, okay, so I went vegan at 15. I started losing my hair at 17. At
Wow.
18, people were commenting on my hair loss. Okay. I used to have long blonde hair down to my waist. At 17, I started losing it. I used to be known for my hair. Okay. And at 17, I started losing it. 19. So here I am thinking, I don't know why. That's when I started my like crazy health, nutrition, like studying. So I've
But
been
you did,
studying.
but you didn't make the connection between your hair loss and your
How
vegan
could I?
diet.
I was a kid. No, and
Yeah.
my mom took me to a dermatologist one time, and he gave me the most stupid advice that I've ever heard of in my life. So I never went back to another doctor again. So,
Are you still
I
alive? How are you alive?
dude, ever since I was born this way, I don't trust doctors. I'm sorry. But anyway, so, and then sure enough, I said, fine, we'll go to a stupid doctor. We go to the doctor, and sure enough, stupid advice. My mom paid $60, I remember, and she was pissed about that because we literally walked away with nothing, so no healing at all. Or, okay, so then I'm taking all these supplements. So from age 20 to age like 36 when I joined the army. So for those 15 years, I would be what I would consider plant-based. So that's another 15 years of malnutrition. So
Jesus.
mostly plants. I would say 95% plants, 95% plants. And then I drink pasteurized milk. But like I said, that's a deficient food. So I don't consider that a nourishing food. And pasteurized dairy. So,
So
but no,
did you eat eggs?
no.
No.
Never ate eggs. Never ate eggs ever.
So
If
you
somebody
were
made me,
essentially vegan, or yeah, you were vegan.
the only thing that I was eating was pasteurized dairy, which is deficient.
Yeah.
So I wasn't getting nutrition from that, although it was not technically vegan. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So from age 20 to like 36, even when I raised my kids, like we just basically ate pasteurized dairy. And then, I think I would have, if somebody else made eggs for me or something, like if I went to my mom's house, somewhere else, I would eat them. It wasn't like, but I never cooked this way. I was just like drinking herbal teas out the ass, trying to nourish my body with supplements, trying to fix my hair loss with supplements for 15 straight years, and plants, right? Once in a while, I would make chicken, like once a week for my kids, and then I wouldn't even eat it. Like, I don't know why. I was raised that way. So I was raised like malnourished.
Chicken's overrated. Like, I like to eat chicken as much as the next guy, but I could eat a whole chicken and I'm still craving red meat. Like, it just doesn't hit the spot. It doesn't do it for me. It's tasty.
I like chicken, but I just didn't eat a lot of it because I don't know why. I honestly don't know why. I was just a plant eater. It was natural to me. I was raised that way. It was habits. So anyway, a lot of vegetables and shit. So then at age 36, when I joined the Army and we moved to Virginia, I was, for the first time in my life, I was exposed to raw milk. Mm-hmm. So I started drinking raw milk right there.
Did you have any issues when you first started drinking it?
No, none at all. See, this is the thing. I could eat anything and never have any problems whatsoever, except for kefir. Kefir did me in one time, the first time I drank it.
Histamines.
Yeah, fermented milk. So anyway, so from age 36, I started drinking raw milk to now. I'm 46 years old. I've been drinking raw milk for 10 straight years. Again, there's no iron in raw milk. There's very low amount of iron. For somebody that's already deficient, it's not going to save you. So literally my entire life, I haven't been eating heme iron. I've been eating non-heme iron, plenty of that. Heme iron. And here I am. I woke up at age 45, anemic. And so
it took a long time, though.
That fucking long, only because I think the raw milk saved me. And actually, Sv3rige gave me this idea. And I think if I never would have found that raw milk at age 36, I think I would have gotten sicker much faster, and I would have gotten out of a plant-based diet much faster as well. I think the raw milk prolonged my malnutrition and my low iron by just keeping me, somewhat satiated and some nourishment. Raw milk is very good for you. But it kind of hid my anemia because there is a little bit of iron in that,
I see.
Yeah,
so 10 years ago, you reintroduced animal products. Not that you took them out completely, but
I did not reintroduce animal products.
Just raw milk.
Just raw milk.
I see.
I think I made bone broth once. And for those, okay, let me take that back. For those last 10 years, while I was married and all that, so my husband was eating chicken all the time. So I would eat some chicken once in a while. I'm talking a couple of times a month. I would eat chicken with them. So, and I had the mentality that, okay, you eat this tiny amount of chicken. I had this mentality, the palm of your hand size. So I thought that's all I need. I measured every animal product or meat I measure with that. Oh, I don't want to eat any more than the palm of my hands, whatever. So I would eat this little tiny ass piece of chicken once in a while, a couple times a month. And thinking that, oh, I'm eating meat. No. So anyway, I became anemic. So at age 45, I woke up with anemia, like, oh, snap. Like, oh, that's when I woke up like, wow. All of that spinach I ate, all the time and energy and money and, I spent on vegetables, and here I am sick, so I had kind of a wake up call and started eating meat like every day eating meat. But I was eating grains too, like a shit ton of rice or whatever. So I was eating meat every night. And here I am. And then I saw Sv3rige and I'm like, oh, you can eat way more meat than this? So I tried that and I started eating. The grains got less and the grains now are nothing. Now I eat a full plate of just animal products. And I ate like a tiny bowl, nowhere near the amount of food I used to eat with grains. Just a tiny bowl of food, like eggs and like whatever, sausage, bacon. And I am more satiated that in my entire life. I've never felt this way before. It was such a wake up call to be truly nourished, like changes your whole thought pattern, you know? I never would have known this is a thing. I never knew this was a feeling, you know, to feel this good.
I know exactly what you mean because I call it the new normal. It's like, well, I thought I was healthy before. I thought I was just aging, right? Like I was
Right. That's
fine,
another
but then you start feeling so much better, and you're like, holy shit, my back doesn't hurt anymore after a long
right.
day of
My back
work.
doesn't hurt anymore. The
Yeah,
whole time in the army, I had back pain. The whole time. And I was working in a hospital, you know, it was like, and now I don't have back pain anymore. Gone. How did I age and my back pain went away when I did nothing but change my diet? You know what I'm
you
saying?
took out the inflammatory plants and you added some collagen and all the building blocks that everything that we're made of, essentially, right?
Vitamin A is the one vitamin that has really surprised me.
Hmm.
Really surprised me. My skin, the health of my skin is just astronomical, like with the vitamin A, with the liver.
Tufano holds that it's the most important vitamin, and I tend to agree. Next to
And now
vitamin
I
D,
believe it.
probably. Yeah.
Now I believe it. And he gave me some really good advice one time. That, you know, and I live in Florida, so I'm always at the beach or whatever, but he made it really clear that if you're going to eat liver every day, because I asked him, I was worried about the vitamin A. I'm like, you know, what do you think about eating liver every day to heal anemia? And he's like, make sure you get some sun, because the sun, and I cannot explain why the way he can. You need to search that on his videos about vitamin A and liver and the sun. But the sun somehow does something to assimilate the vitamin A so you don't become toxic. And there's a certain ratio. So you need to learn about that for yourself. If you want to eat liver every day, I definitely don't recommend a man to eat liver every day because
Hmm.
they may become too iron rich, you know. But again, you got to research that stuff yourself and experiment. You know?
Unless you have a hazardous job where you bleed all the time, then maybe you
Right,
shouldn't
because
eat.
yeah, I don't know what kind of job that would be, but maybe in Afghanistan, you know. But
No, like I cut my hands all the time
oh
working,
shit,
for
yeah.
example. So
Okay, so yeah, just bleed out every now and then, you'll be
yeah,
fine.
exactly, exactly.
It's funny, but yeah. um,
Right on. Well, maybe one day I could prepare some specific questions and we could talk about your whole journey in more detail because I'm definitely interested if you are, obviously. But
Absolutely. I'm here
yeah.
to, my main mission right now
Hmm.
is to make women, men that have got to fend for themselves, because I can't speak on men like I can speak on women, make women aware of the dangers of anemia. Like, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to show you like what it can do and how you can heal. And, you know, I'm on a healing path right now. And I just want to show the world, I just want to show women, you know, about plant iron, the difference between, because I didn't know. No one told me the difference between heme iron and plant iron. In all of my studies that I've read books, I'm sure I read it here and there, been reading since I was 19 about nutrition, but it never hit me, you know, about heme iron and plant iron being different.
And how legitimate are these blood tests? Do they distinguish between the type of iron it is, how bioavailable? You know what I mean? I don't understand the science, so I can't speak on
Right.
it. But one thing that I know for sure, well, because it comes from a reputable source, but
Mhm.
like people that get blood tests all the time, vegans, for example, and they say, well, my B12 is fine, even though
So
it's like
tough.
really low,
Yeah.
it's very close to you
Oh,
being deficient.
don't get
One
me started on that, Carnival. Don't
but
get
but
me
what I'm
started.
trying to say is that like once you're very, very low, well, that could already be a problem because all these levels that
Thank
are
you.
established are for the most part arbitrary. Like we don't really know what the cutoff line is exactly, especially since we're all very different. And another thing is if you take your blood test once a year or once every 6 months, let's say you're a little bit low on something, in the next 6 months you could drop way below what's considered safe, and
Absolutely.
you could do damage to your body. So by the time you take that next blood test to find out that you're actually low, you could have already done irreversible damage, you know?
There's so many variables when you take a test. And I would love to say something about levels, okay? So specifically iron. I've said this so many times, and this is what I'm trying to instill for, this is what I want women to hear, plant-based women to hear me when I say, your doctor is going to send you out the door with an okay iron level. Oh, you have great blood work. You know how many times I've heard that in the Army? Now they force me to give blood. They take tests in the Army. They force you. It's an order. Okay, so I didn't have any choice. I had to deal with that. So not once did they ever tell me that I was in the low range. Because honestly, I don't think there is a low range. I think it's just you're fine, and then literally you're anemic.
You fall off that cliff.
Yeah, you fall off the fucking cliff. Like one doctor, and I've tried to tell this on my videos. Like one doctor, me and my daughter were so ill. You know, my daughter, my beautiful 15-year-old daughter was losing her hair. Like I said, I raised them on chicken, not red meat. Again, a low iron diet for women. So my daughter, my beautiful daughter, is losing her hair at 15, 16 years old, and she's blacking out and she's freezing and all of this stuff. And I'm like, I have the same symptoms. Let's go for the heck of it, get an iron test. The first one that I physically went and got specifically an iron test, me and my daughter. The doctor sent us out the door. You're fine. Your blood test's fine. Everything's fine. Okay. And I'm like, wait a minute. What are the numbers? Can you just please give me the numbers of my test? You know what he said? He said my iron, I believe it was a 13 or 14. I was a 14. Okay, 12 is anemic. He said my iron was a 14 and my daughter's was a 13. Yeah. And he was sending us out the door when 12 is an anemic. He was sending us out the door with a great blood work checkup.
I guess he doesn't ever deal with any supplement companies.
What the fuck? So I'm like, so then I looked at the range myself. Like, you have to do some of your own research. You can't just, I'm not gonna say anything about doctors. Okay, so you look up anything else. You look up the range yourself. Google it, it's everywhere, and you see the range for iron for a woman is 0 to 150. Here I am at a 14, and he's saying I'm fine. Clearly, I'm low, falling off the slope any day. So this is what I mean about tests. And I always say to women, prove it to me. Show me your blood tests. I implore vegan women to just prove me wrong. If you're vegan for 2 years, please tell me your blood iron numbers. Nobody ever can give me a number. They always say, I'm fine. I got great blood work. My doctor said I'm fine. I'm like, oh my God, what are the numbers? You know, that's what's important. Are you near anything under 40, in my opinion, is a low iron level. I believe 70, from everything I've been reading, is the optimal level you want to be as a woman, is where you start feeling like optimally healthy. So
from everything else that I've heard, vitamin D and B12 levels, the current recommended ranges are very controversial as well.
Are they low too? They just barely keep you alive?
Vitamin D, yeah, vitamin D is, a lot of people are saying, is very low. It should be a lot higher.
Barely keep you alive. That's what they want. Yeah. They want to barely keep you alive. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I get that.
You know, I mean, apparently we can get all the vitamin D we need from the sun, but you got to live close to the equator. You know,
what about people in Wisconsin? How do they get their vitamin D? I hope they're drinking raw milk.
Yeah, raw milk. I mean, fish, obviously.
Yeah, I didn't know about fish. The oily fish, like salmon and stuff.
You know what? Don't quote me on that. I think they do have a good amount of vitamin D, but definitely animal products. You have to consume a lot of that, or supplement. Which I wouldn't recommend supplementing, but if that's your only choice, definitely supplement vitamin D.
Yeah. If that's your only choice. I have a great question for you, Carneval.
What's up?
How much vitamin D is in raw goat milk?
Fuck you! Answer the question.
So honestly, we had that discussion and we figured it out, because I asked you, I'm like, I don't know how much is in cow milk. I don't even know. So we figured it out, like, through the comment section one time, but I forgot. I don't care. I forgot already.
You know,
so I know it's
good. They want to tell us there isn't any vitamin D in milk, but to me it's like So where does the baby goat or the baby cow get her vitamin D from? Is it all
No,
the
because
sun? I mean, come on.
everything they proclaim about milk nutrition, like government milk nutrition, is pasteurized milk. That's why.
Yeah.
It's pasteurized, homogenized. Lord knows what else they
Or
do to
white
it.
water.
White water,
Yeah.
powdered white water. Yeah, the government gave us that, by the way. That was, remember, back in the day, I don't know, I'm 46. I know you, what are you, 40? I heard you say one time.
Yeah.
I remember
Just
back in
about.
the day, there used to be something called government food, government cheese, government,
I've
like,
only heard about that stuff, but yeah, I'm familiar with the concept.
yeah. I believe that's what we were receiving as, my mom, whatever. So the government milk that they gave my mom to feed her children was white powder or white water, powdered skim milk.
Yeah, mass-produced garbage.
Oh man, yeah. So yeah. Oh, there was a time when I was 5 years old, and my mom and my dad moved to. We went to live on a commune farm in upstate New York from Florida, and I remember that's when I ate eggs, and that's when I drank real milk. But there was a 1 year in my life, I was 5 years old, that and they used to have the kids. It was so cool, and I think this is what made like this is what I grew up to be because of this experience. They had the kids making the butter, churning the milk and making the butter. That was the kids' job. It was a commune, so everybody had jobs. The kids would make the butter, and everybody would go to breakfast, and everybody ate the same thing, eggs and butter, whatever they gave you. So that was a time in my life when I probably was very nourished when I was 5, 1 year out of my life, you know.
Yeah. That's
That
how you survived.
stuck with me. Now I'm such a promoter of small farms. I'll drive you crazy. Like, I implore people, small farms, we are fully screwed without small farmers.
That was a really scenic place you went to one time with your daughter.
Isn't that
That
cool? I didn't even
really
know.
cool place, yeah.
I work for a raw dairy, a small raw dairy. So I've never been there because it's like an hour, drive, and I'm
Hmm.
busy. So finally, I'm like, let's just take a day trip out and visit a raw dairy, And man, that is some good, clean fun for kids. If you want something to do with your kids, it's free or whatever. Go visit a local farm. 90% of them, they welcome you, like regular families and stuff.
Hmm.
They want you to look. And I didn't know, like, in my head, I'm thinking cleared pastures of grass and all that, which they did have there. But I thought it was super cool how all the cows are just wandering around in the woods. That's funny.
Yeah, I don't know. It looked nice.
It was beautiful, peaceful,
Is
you
it on the
know.
beach or just about?
It was a few blocks from the beach,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah, it was really beautiful.
It's crazy
Yeah.
how they seem to manage in this soil that didn't look very fertile at all.
I
And
know.
all they had was like browse, almost no grass.
It was sugar sand. Well, I don't, did you see how they were eating all of the palm? They were eating the
Yeah.
palm fronds. You said your goats ate the palm fronds. So they eat the palm fronds, and they're also rotated. So the other field was a grassed pasture. You know what I'm saying? So they're definitely rotated throughout their lives there.
Yeah, of
And
course. Yeah.
so, and they're fed at night. The cows come home at night. So the cows come home at night, and she feeds them whatever. I don't know what. Honestly, I don't know what she feeds them. But
Probably some grain.
oh, wait, let me plug in my battery. Yeah,
Yeah.
probably. And you know what she said? She said
Uh-huh.
cows don't want 100% grass. That's another thing. That's like a deficient. Like, cows don't want 100%. A lot of this grass-fed milk that you buy in the grocery store is not sustainable for a cow because they just specifically grow like green grass. And
Feeding ruminant animals some grain is not bad.
it was no, it's not
Corn,
bad.
wheat, what is it? It's grass seed.
Yeah,
The problem, it only becomes a problem when the animal doesn't have enough fiber to ferment in their gut, and it messes up their bacterial balance, and I think it makes the stomach acidic. That's bad, but that's only if you feed them exclusively.
100% grain.
Yeah, that's when you run into problems. But supplementing them with grain is not a problem because it ultimately it's just grass seed.
I
You just
believe
have
that's
to,
what
yeah.
I believe that is what she does. And she said to me, cows don't want just grass. They
Hmm.
want everything. You know
Well,
what I'm
and
saying?
here's another thing people don't understand. These animals were bred to produce unnatural amounts of milk. Love it or hate it, that's the way it
True.
is.
True.
So it's almost impossible to feed them just on grass. They have to get some kind of concentrate in order to fully realize their genetic potential and make 20 gallons of milk a day. Because out in nature, a cow like that would probably make 5-6 liters a day, which is more than enough for that one calf that it has.
Right. And I don't know, like, all I know is that milk is the most delicious, nutritious milk I have ever had in my 10 years of drinking raw milk and being all over the country. So that whatever she's doing right, you know?
Yeah.
Um, I
Like
just
we feed our goats corn. We sprout the corn. We ferment the corn, right?
right.
So it's more bioavailable.
That's
But
nice.
we don't give them a ton, but it gives them no issues. It fattens them up nicely. I'm gonna make a video with some of this tallow
Yeah.
we
I
pulled
was
off a goat. It was yellow like grass-fed butter. This fat that we pulled off this goat was
really
so rich and yellow
that's
and
so
delicious.
nutritious. Yeah. I would love to see more of your
It
goats and your animals.
I'll get to that. It's just, shooting and editing.
I
I don't
know.
know. I'll
I thought it
get
was
to
so
it.
funny that one time. I loved that video where you were just like in the dark and all of a sudden there's like goats popping out of the grass. I thought it was hilarious. Like the freaking goats.
Yeah, they got lots of character. I'm not a big fan of cattle unless it's on my plate, but goats, I like
Right.
goats. Yeah.
Yeah. And think of mono meals. Okay, so you don't want to give your cow a mono meal of just grain or just
No
grass.
way.
You know what I'm saying?
No. It has to
And
get
it's not the
protein
grass.
too.
And it's not the grass that they are growing in a wild field of, wildflowers and, weeds and stuff. A lot of these, like you buy in the grocery store, this factory farmed milk or whatever, that's like grass fed. I still don't trust that because I feel that I've seen a couple clips where the cows are in the barn and they just throw a giant pile of perfectly green, fresh cut grass in the middle and they just eat that. That's not weeds. That's not wildflowers. That's not different types of seeds and stuff like that and different types of grasses. It's just like a
They
mon.
what people don't know is that these ruminant animals, they actually eat a lot of bugs too.
They
Because
must.
when they're no, when they're
Right.
out there and they eat the grass, they don't spit it out because there's a bug in there. They just eat it
No,
all.
right.
So
How
people don't realize this.
could they avoid the bugs? They're just chowing away all day. How could they avoid the bugs? You are absolutely right. I didn't even think of that. I'm not sure if my battery is gonna die or not. I
You're
plugged
kind
it
of
in and
fading in and out. You're kind of fading in and out here and
oh,
there. But
oh, okay.
it's been almost 2 hours anyway, and I had a lot of fun talking to
Really?
you.
Oh crap.
And
Okay, cool. I didn't know it
I
was
got
that late. My
no, it's all good. I got shit to do. I'm sure you do
me
as well as
too.
everybody in the chat. So
Yeah, hell yeah. My
you have any
granddaughter's
final
here.
thoughts? Anything you want to put out there?
Um,
I'm gonna put a link. I already did actually to your channel in the description, so everybody check out
awesome.
Sv3rige and Janine. If you want
Cool.
to plug anything else, feel free.
Good talking to you. Maybe put this in two parts. I didn't know it was 2 hours, dude. Sorry.
Oh
I could
no,
talk.
no, it's all good. I could. This is my goal is to get to 2 hours, hour and a half, and
Okay,
that's
cool,
that.
cool.
Because so we're good.
I think we're
But
good. I have a shit ton to
yeah,
talk about. We'll talk about later.
yeah. I'd like to one day talk to you. I'd like to prepare a little bit, but talk to you about your dietary journey, where you came from, exactly where you're at now, and all that other good stuff. So if you're game, maybe in a few weeks we could do that.
Absolutely,
Right
absolutely.
on. Well,
All right, cool.
thank you for coming through and chatting it up. Thank you, all the people in the chat, all the viewers. Thanks for coming through. And like I said at the beginning, this is, anybody who wants to hop on live and say whatever the hell they want to say, as long as it's topical, you're more than welcome to. Vegan, carnivore, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
So once again, thank you, Janine. Thanks everybody for coming through. We're gonna
Wrap it up.
end it right here, right now. Take
All
care,
right.
everybody.
Bye.